Hi guys, welcome to another video. If you're new to the channel, then a very warm welcome, and if you've been with us a while, then just as warm a welcome. Today we're going to do a Clearcoat video comparing the two caps on the same gun. So it's a GTI Pro Lite, or Tekna Pro Lite as you call it. There is a new version of this out just called the Pro Lite in the UK, and it will be making its way to the US as well if it hasn't already, but it's exactly the same gun. It's only available in blue now. The GTI Pro Lite label is gone, it's just called the Pro Lite, and they've done the same with the mini gun as well. It's just called the Pro Lite S instead of the SRI Pro Lite. But they're the same guns, exactly the same guns, same caps, needle, everything's exactly the same. So what I'm saying now is just as true for the new version as the old version. So the two caps we're going to compare today are the TE20 for Clearcoat, just so that you can see the differences between the two, and the T110. So there's a slight difference. The air holes are slightly smaller in the air horns on the T110. There's only 4 little holes at the front here, whereas the TE20 has 6. If it will focus, come on. Yeah, you can see the 6 holes at the front there. And there's a few other differences. There's also a TE10, which is normally a base coat cap, but we'll run through the differences when I show you the video. Anyway, I just wanted to give you a little bit more information at the front. So we're going to stick the camera on the head and away we go. Cheers guys, thank you. So the reason for pitting these two caps together, the TE20 and the T110, is they're normally regarded as a Clearcoat cap. You can pretty much spray anything with anything at the end of the day, but the series of caps on the GTI Pro Lite, Tekna Pro Lite, or Pro Lite as it's called now, they make 5, which is they've actually just changed the name of one, but they make the HV30, which I used to have but I haven't got anymore, uses colossal amounts of air, something like 17, 18 CFM. It'll empty your tank in no time at all. So best avoided unless you really need that, or by your local standards agency you've got to use that. So that leaves you with the HV25, which is a sort of like a mid-range cap. It's halfway between HVLP and Transtech. And then the ones that I use now, which is the TE20, which is the subject of this video, T110, which is the one you can see being used now, and the TE10. The TE10 is normally regarded as a non-HVLP base coat cap, but it can do clear coat as well. It's just a bit slower, seems a bit slower. Uses less air than the TE20, and slightly more air from memory, slightly more or near enough the same as the T110. So if you're at home, the TE10 can make a good all-round cap because it does clear coat well but slow, or slower, and it does base coat well. The TE20 does base coat okay. Clear coat, you're going to see what it does now. And the T110, I haven't actually used it for base coat because it is supposed to be a clear coat cap, but no doubt it will perform fine. But the main difference between the T20 and the T110, which is the subject of this video, is supposed to be the finish. Now a lot of people like a flat finish. It's not always, I mean, I use the T20 more than I use the T110 because you can get a really good finish with it. But if you do want a flatter finish, the T110 is supposed to be the one. And there's a high res video coming up at the end of this of the two tanks together, so that you can see the difference between the two and you can make your own mind up. And we'll run through it at the end. But they do produce a slightly different finish, but it is slight. Speed wise, it's the same tank, or virtually the same tank, which is the whole idea of doing these comparison videos, is using the same tank, same conditions, same day, etc, etc. These are all done at the same time, and they're literally done in, you know, one coat, then take the tank away, bring the other one. So the temperature's the same, everything's the same, as close as I can get them to give you an idea of what works better and what doesn't. So, as I say, the TE20 is like a stalwart of the industry, really. A lot of people use it and have done for years in, you know, auto refinishing places, because it gives you a good factory type finish. You can match most finishes with it, whereas the T110 is often used in sort of like custom places and things like that, where the finish needs to be flatter. Because if you're going to do, I suppose if you're going to do a whole bike or a whole car or whatever you're doing, you're not trying to match anything, so you'd want the best finish you can get. If you're going to flat these and polish them, then in my mind there's probably no difference really between the two, because by its very nature, flattening and polishing, the flattening part, you're flattening any peel anyway, polishing, you're just polishing it up. So, you know, maybe there's just a little bit more to flat with the TE20 than with the T110. You can make your mind up at the end. But yeah, I mean, I'm perfectly happy with the TE20 most of the time. So this was a little bit of an outing for me with the T110, because as I say, I don't use it often. Now, from the times that I have used it, I find that you get a better finish, or I certainly get a better finish, from the TE110 with a 1.2 tip. So I'm putting the settings of the guns on the screen, but with the TE110 I use a 1.2 tip at 2 bar. The TE20 I get a better finish, or I think I get a better finish, from a 1.3 tip. So I've actually set them up in 1.2 and 1.3. So what you're seeing now, the T110 has a 1.2 tip and the TE20 has a 1.3 tip. And the reason I've done that, as I say, is because from my past experience, for me, that's worked the best. The 1.3 with the T110 doesn't give me such a good finish as with a 1.2. As I say, that's why I've gone for it. But I find with a TE20, with a 1.2, it's not quite putting out enough material really. These are high solids clears, exactly the same clear coat. It's only a cheap clear coat, so you know, if you use a better quality one, then you're going to get a better finish than this. Not a flatter finish, but maybe slightly shinier if that's what you want. But you know, this clear coat I use virtually all the time. It's good value for money, and for our purposes, you know, it gives a really good finish. I think it gives a really good finish anyway. I always use a fast hardener, not extra fast. If you use extra fast, it's a Upol 2080 for anybody who wants to know. So here's the video at the end, and you can see this is the TE20 as far as I know. Yeah, TE20. And you can see the finish when you get up. I'll get up close in a second, but you can see the difference between the two is minimal. It is minimal. If you look on the camera, you can actually see little difference or no difference. But I will tell you, to the naked eye, or in my case, naked eye and a pair of glasses, the T110, which is that one there on the right hand side, does actually produce a slightly better, flatter finish. I've said better, that's not the right word, a flatter finish, because if you're trying to match a door to an existing panel, then flatter might not be better. But as I say, if you're flattening and polishing, it doesn't really matter. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video, guys. Rather than comparing two different makes of gun or whatever, I thought I'd compare two different caps, because it often comes up this in the various forums and that, you know, which one's the best and which one would you use, and it depends what you want really. If you want a flat finish, T110. If not, T20 is the best. All right guys, thank you.